The bomb alarm screamed across Vex Alpha Station, red lights bleeding through every corridor. Civilians and diplomats of a dozen species scrambled for evacuation pods, their translators spitting overlapping prayers and curses.
This device is unbreakable by any known galactic disposal method. You have 47 minutes.
In the Galactic Council chamber, delegates froze. No one had ever dared plant a Cascade device on neutral ground.
The Hexus Liberation Front does not bluff. Your station will burn, and your precious council will watch.
Light years away, Earth's Explosive Ordnance Disposal Command received the distress call.
Get me, Reeves. The galaxy's out of options. We're not.
Commander Greer opened a private channel to a quiet home outside Nashville, Tennessee.
Talk to me, Commander.
We've got a live one, Reeves. Class 7 Cascade. You are the only one who's even whispered maybe.
What's the clock, Commander?
42 minutes. The Council's calling it a suicide run.
Then I'd better pack. Suit up in 5.
His bomb disposal suit hung in the gear room, patched and faded from 4 tours and over 100 live devices.
31 years. Still chasing the same rush.
He thumbed the Leatherman from its sheath, checked the wire cutters, the serrated blade, and the tiny screwdriver before sliding it back. In the kitchen, the coffee maker beeped. He poured it into a paper cup, steam curling like a ghost.
Home before Emma walks. That's the deal.
He took a sip. Still too hot, but he'd need it cold by the time he arrived. The front door closed behind him. Outside, the morning was ordinary. Inside, the galaxy's only hope was already walking toward the shuttle with a cup of coffee and a pocket knife. He settled into the jump seat, coffee on the armrest, and keyed the mission data.
47 years old, and they still call me when the galaxy gets scared.
The shuttle's hatch sealed with a resonant thud. Outside, the ordinary morning waited. He pulled up Vex Alpha Station schematics. Cargo Bay 7. Cascade device. Countdown, 34 minutes.
Emma would kill me for missing her graduation. She'd probably laugh first, though.
Pre-launch lights blinked amber across the tarmac. He stowed the photo and cinched his harness. The engines engaged, pressing him into the seat as stars blurred to streaks outside the viewport.
They always think unbreakable means I can't find the seam. Every machine has a seam.
Ahead, the cold curve of Vex Alpha glinted in the void, red alarm lights pulsing like a frantic heartbeat. He could feel the station's fear from here. A silent scream across 30,000 kilometers. The shuttle locked onto the docking arm with a hiss. Atmosphere equalized and the inner hatch rolled open.
Sergeant Reeves, I am Ilix, assigned as your liaison. The bomb is in Cargo Bay 7.
Show me.
Elix's skin had paled to a sickly lime. He clutched a datapad against his chest like a shield.
The countdown is at 29 minutes. No one else would enter. The bomb it is not of our design.
I've seen worse. Keep the path clear behind me and don't touch anything until I say.
On a wall monitor several corridors away, Pescor watched the feed and stroked the detonator in his palm.
1 human. 1. They sent a single skin-wrapped sack of water to undo my masterpiece.
The evacuation had slowed to a trickle. Red strobes painted Elix's large eyes as they walked against the flow.
There, through that bulkhead, the bomb is active. I will wait here.
Robert stepped into the cargo bay. Ahead, on a raised platform, the bomb pulsed red, its countdown at 28 minutes. It was a tangled mass of alloy and conduits, larger than any device he'd seen on a station. He chose a flat crate near the entrance and set his coffee down with care. He shrugged into his EOD suit, leaving the chest unzipped for mobility. Without looking, he found the Leatherman in his thigh pocket. A motion from 1,000 missions. He thumbed it open. The wire cutters caught the red glow.
Sergeant Reeves of Earth, I expected a squad, not a single retirement-aged mammal with a toy.
Toys are what you play with. This is what I work with.
He kept his eyes on the bomb. It was already telling him its secrets. He exhaled, slow. The Leatherman felt like an extension of his hand. He slid the flathead driver between 2 alloy plates. The panel popped free with a dry snap, bearing a gut of alien wiring.
See these 8 wires. Only one carries the trigger current.
Our scans detect voltage on 3 of them. Which one?
The red one. The others are decoys. Look at the termination points. Dead ends.
He pinched the red wire between the cutter blades. A clean squeeze and it parted. For 3 seconds, the bomb's core groaned. Then the display reset, the cascade icon dimming.
Sergeant Reeves has neutralized the first failsafe. Repeat, first failsafe is down.
A false alarm. You've cut a sensor wire, nothing more. The cascade continues.
Robert wiped the cutters on his thigh, blew a speck of dust from the blade, and glanced at the next tangle of conduits. The Leatherman's screwdriver clicked into place. Behind him, Ilix whispered a prayer to 6 gods. The second failsafe rose from the bomb's core, a plasma lock burning blue-white between 2 alloy gates.
Plasma lock. They always over-engineer the energy gate.
He gripped the Leatherman's pliers and bridged the live contacts. The arc snapped, the gates flickered, and the lock disengaged.
How did you know that would work? The bridge could have cascaded.
Built too complicated. Simple is better. Every lock has a bypass.
He began to hum, a low, tuneless melody from an old Earth country song, as if he were fixing a kitchen sink.
He's humming, as if this is a routine maintenance check.
On his monitor, Pest Core watched the second failsafe disappear from the schematic and felt the first cold weight of doubt.
Contact Vex Clixis. The human is bypassing them too fast. Is the third failsafe truly absolute?
Robert wiped a stripe of sweat from his forehead and turned his attention to the final obstacle, the crystalline matrix, glowing like a frozen star. In a shielded bunker, Pest Core's comm channel crackled to life. Vex Clixis appeared on the monitor, calm among floating schematics.
He bypassed 2 failsafes in minutes. Tell me the crystal is truly impenetrable.
The matrix requires a harmonic key, tuned to a frequency only I know. No tool in the galaxy can replicate it.
Vex Clixis gestured to a holographic model of the crystal's internal structure, a lattice of shifting energy. On the station, Robert knelt beside the bomb, staring into the crystal's icy blue glow, listening.
Frequencies, huh? They always make it sound more complicated than it is.
He tapped a mounting screw with the butt of the Leatherman. The crystal shivered, a faint chime escaping.
Are you absolutely certain, Vex? He's tapping on the housing.
Tapping? It's a sealed unit. He'd need my proprietary sonic wrench to even scratch the surface.
Robert lined up the screwdriver and leaned in close. Cold breath fogged the crystal as he made his choice. The first screw turned. He didn't look at Ilix, only at the metal. The second screw followed.
If they didn't want me in, they shouldn't have used standard thread. Alien hardware, same physics.
Sergeant, that housing is a sealed unit. The schematics show internal welding. You'll shatter the crystal.
The third screw came out with a soft click. The housing loosened in his hand, and he pulled it free. A pulse of blue light escaped the crystal. The glow faded, and the matrix went dark, silent.
The third failsafe is down. It's dark. Is it over? Is the bomb dead?
Too easy. Every one of them thought unbreakable until he found the seam.
Vex, the human unscrewed it like a simple maintenance cover. What is your unbreakable matrix?
Standard thread? It was tuned for sonic integrity, not physical bypass. This shouldn't work.
The bomb fell silent. The countdown still showed 18 minutes, but Robert's gut tightened. Something else had woken. The display flickered. The old clock vanished, replaced by a new crimson number, 11:14. Beneath it, a phrase, "Dead Man Protocol Active." Robert stared, unmoving. He knew that protocol. It meant the bomb was never meant to be disarmed.
What does dead man mean? It's counting down again.
Did you truly believe I would leave no final surprise? Bypass my fail-safes, and you become the trigger.
Inside the bomb, a hidden pressure sensor now held the circuit open. Any tampering would close it.
They rigged it, so disarming arms the final trigger. Twist the knife in the wound.
We're going to die. We're going to.
Ilix, breathe. I've seen this before. It's just a deeper lock.
Impossible. The dead man's switch cannot be bypassed. You have 11 minutes.
Robert's expression hardened. 11 minutes. He'd work with 7. Robert held up a hand. Ilix froze, mouth open. Silence, now. Only the bomb's low hum.
There, a micro variation in the hum. That's the pressure sensor's feedback loop.
He unfolded the Leatherman's smallest screwdriver, jeweler's size and knelt as still as a statue.
There's a pressure sensor inside the core. If I jar it, the switch closes.
Can you reach it without touching?
Robert didn't answer. He slid the blade into a seam thinner than a credit card. The tip found a recessed release clasp. He applied a whisper of torque, and the inner panel sighed open.
He's not breathing. He's not even blinking.
The core lay exposed, a nest of hair, thin wires, and a single crystalline cylinder, the sensor. Robert's hand was the only steady thing in the galaxy. The countdown read 9 minutes. He snipped a short length from a dead wire and twisted it into a tight U-shape.
Bridge the loop. Kill the switch. One steady move.
He eased the wire into the pressure sensor's contacts and let go. The bomb's hum dipped.
Did it work? The sensors bypassed?
Then, from behind the sensor cradle, a glass ampule slid into view. Its green acid glowed like poison. A hairline crack crept up its length. It had fractured when the sensor cradle shifted.
Secondary trap. Always a secondary. Acid on the control board.
Robert's hand froze mid-air. The ampule was designed to shatter if the sensor was disturbed.
Is that acid? Will it reach the board?
A single bead of green liquid purled at the crack, straining the glass. Seconds away from release. Without looking, he flipped the Leatherman and opened its fine-point tweezers.
Move the hand, not the breath. Smooth as glass.
The tweezers closed around the ampule's neck. He lifted it, quarter-inch by quarter-inch, as green vapor whisked from the crack. He set it down on the soft lining of his open kit, far from any circuit. The glass held.
It's out, I thought. I thought it was going to.
Robert sat back on his heels, swallowed hard. His hands were steady. His eyes were tired. The bomb's display stabilized. The dead man icon still glowed, but the clock now read 3 minutes.
3 minutes. The dead man's still live. I need the detonator signal line.
He leaned in, tracing the wire bundles with the tweezers, each tap a question. Then he saw it. A filament thinner than a hair, almost invisible, buried in a shielded conduit. He followed the filament to a tiny coupling on the detonator module. The wire pulsed with a faint charge. His hand stopped. The cutter hovered. One squeeze, and he could be wrong.
Home before Emma walks. That was the deal.
He blinked once, and the photo in his mind sharpened. Emma in the graduation gown, sunlight in her hair. The countdown flashed. 2 minutes. He exhaled, and the hesitation burned away. He lined up the cutter and squeezed. The snip was silent in the red darkness. The filament parted. A sharp click echoed, and the bomb's display froze for half a heartbeat, then resumed counting.
No, it's still live. What did you do wrong?
Robert ignored him. He'd cut the correct wire. The sequence needed to recognize it. The dead man icon pulsed once, twice, then dimmed. But the clock kept ticking. 2 minutes, 11 minutes 14. The bomb's display froze at 11:14. The numbers held, trembling. Then the screen shattered into static and went dark. The low hum that had vibrated through the deck plates for nearly an hour simply stopped. The silence was a physical shock. Throughout Vex Alpha, the red alarm strobes flickered once and died. The emergency alert cut mid-tone.
It stopped. The bomb. It's silent.
Yeah.
He let out a breath he'd been holding since he stepped off the shuttle. His knees cracked as he stood. He walked to the crate and picked up the coffee. The cardboard cup was still warm against his palm. He took a sip. It was lukewarm now, but it was the best cup of coffee he'd ever tasted.
I cannot. You. 11 minutes. 11. With a pocket knife.
Multi-tool. 11 minutes, 14 seconds. Give or take. And it's not the tool, Ilix. It's just knowing where to cut.
Station security burst into Pescor's bunker. They found him slumped before a dead monitor, the detonator dangling from his fingers. He didn't resist. His wide yellow eyes stared at nothing, the fanged mouth slack, no gloating, no threats. Light years away, in a private lab, Vex Clixis watched the council feed. His hands, which had designed 1,000 perfect mechanisms, trembled.
The dead man's switch was absolute. It was designed to punish any attempt.
He swept his console with a roar. Glass shattered, circuits sparked, and the schematics that had mesmerized a generation vanished into noise.
I vacate my post. I am finished. Engineering is finished.
The Galactic Council chamber erupted into an emergency session. Human was spoken 100 times before the first gavel struck for order. On Vex Alpha, Robert handed his empty coffee cup to a passing medic. He didn't look back at the dead metal carcass of the bomb. He didn't need to hear Elix's official report. The quiet was all the victory he required. Emma's graduation was in 6 weeks. He had a shuttle to catch, and a promise he intended to keep. The Galactic Council's emergency session continued through the night. Vex Clixis's career was dissected under sterile light. The verdict: forced retirement, all certifications revoked, his name erased from sanctioned engineering records. Then, a new agenda item: Earth origin pocket tools. The defusal footage played on every screen. Delegates spoke of the threat: a single human, a common tool, and an unbeatable bomb defeated. The vote was unanimous. All Earth origin multi-tools and pocket knives classified as restricted defense equipment. Earth's ambassador protested, but the motion passed. The Leatherman was now a weapon of galactic consequence. In the same session, a resolution passed to honor Sergeant First Class Robert Reeves for extraordinary service. On the shuttle, Robert's datapad chimed an official summons to the Council, plus a proposed directorship.
Directorship of the Galactic EOD Academy. They want to pin a medal on me and give me a desk.
He closed the message. He'd already made his choice. 6 weeks. Emma. Robert stood before the Galactic Council, his dress uniform pressed but his hands empty. The chamber held 1,000 gawking eyes. The council speaker's voice filled the chamber, offering him the directorship of the Galactic EOD Academy. Robert listened. Then he spoke, his voice even.
I am honored, but I have to decline.
Murmurs spread through the alien delegates. No one had ever refused such an honor.
My daughter's high school graduation is in 6 weeks. I've missed enough.
The photo showed a teenager in a blue graduation gown, sunlight catching her smile. Emma Reeves. Robert continued. She gets that diploma. I'll be in the second row. No medal can replace that. The council speaker, after a pause, bowed deeply. The chamber erupted not in anger, but in applause. Robert inclined his head, pocketed the photo, and walked out. The Leatherman stayed in his pocket. The shuttle touched down in Tennessee on a bright afternoon. No fanfare, no cameras. He drove home with the window down. The Leatherman rode in his pocket, heavier than it had ever felt. As he pulled into the driveway, Emma burst through the front door, still in her blue graduation gown.
Dad.
She ran to him and threw her arms around his neck. He lifted her off the ground, both laughing.
Best sound in the galaxy.
He set her down and looked at her gown, the same one from the photo, the one that almost didn't happen. Emma's smile was the exact shade of sunlight he'd carried through the bomb's red darkness. He still had the Leatherman in his pocket. It had saved a station. But this was what it had been for. He walked inside, an ordinary man again, with the best tool he ever owned, tucked out of sight. A week later, he bought a simple shadow box from the hardware store. He set it on the kitchen table. The Leatherman sat beside it, worn and ordinary. He placed the tool inside, arranging it neatly, then added the commendation from the council, a small handwritten note in the corner. Emma's graduation, 2147. The bomb and the decision. He sealed the glass and hung it on the wall, next to a framed photo of Emma in her gown.
It saved thousands, but it's just a tool. The real weapon is between your ears and under your ribs.
He stepped back and looked at the wall. Tools of the trade on one side, family on the other. That night he made a fresh pot of coffee. Saturday in his chair. The house was quiet. Outside, an ordinary night. Inside, a man who had decided what mattered. The Leatherman hung there, still carrying the scratches from the bomb, still ready if ever needed. 30 years later, a package arrived at David Reeves's door. No return address, just his father's handwriting. Inside the box, the shadow frame. The Leatherman lay under glass, mute and heavy with years. He lifted the tool and turned it in his hands. The same scratches, the same worn grip.
Dad's hands knew every notch. I can still see him opening it on the kitchen table.
He remembered the story. The bomb, the coffee, the 11 minutes that saved a station. His father had never bragged, but the Leatherman carried the truth in its scars.
He said it was just knowing where to cut. Maybe that's what he wanted me to find.
David closed his fist around the handle. It fit. He slid it into his pocket, beside his own modern multi-tool. 2 eras, side by side. He walked out the door, an engineer carrying his father's legacy, not as a weapon, but as a steady hand. At the workshop, David set the old multi-tool beside his modern one. Same hands, different eras. His fingers found the old grooves without thinking. Every movement felt like listening to his father's voice.
Find the seam. Move the hand, not the breath. Smooth as glass.
He finished the calibration and stepped back. The machine hummed to life. Then he looked down at the bench. The old Leatherman rested there, scratched and steadfast. On its side, worn almost smooth from decades, the engraved name caught the light. Reeves. He traced it with his thumb once, then folded the tool and slipped it back into his pocket. Outside the workshop, the stars were the same as they'd been 30 years ago. Cold, distant, and indifferent. But the galaxy had learned something it couldn't forget. The most dangerous thing in the universe isn't technology. It's a steady hand, a clear mind, and a pocket knife. The Leatherman stayed in David's pocket. Another Reeves, still ready.